Yes, I think just for like, there are so many things I could say, but I think the number one thing is a perspective. And it's something that you and I were talking about when we did like the pre-conversation when we first met, just to tell yourself, like, I'm new to this. There are going to be so many different perspectives. I'm in authors groups. They're wonderful. And I love getting the support and getting feedback. And I've had so many people support me and meeting so many amazing authors. But then they're also a place where people go and vent. And they're not asking, do you have space to hear me vent? They're just venting. And you can see something and someone say these all or nothing thoughts, like no one buys books anymore. No one likes indie authors. No one this, and you're reading it. It's like, oh my God. And it can be scary and frustrating. And people can say like, this is so hard. And just tell yourself, like, I'm new to this. Like, it's going to be hard because it's something new. When you were a baby and you were learning to walk, that was hard. Like, new things are difficult, but just because they're difficult doesn't mean that you can't do them. You can and you will. Just acknowledge, I'm new to this. I'm going to make some mistakes. You pay for confidence. Like, I made mistakes. I spent money I wish I didn't. And now I know better. And then writing the second book, it's just so much easier.
Okay, everyone, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter. Go start a podcast. You get to meet the best people in the world. And today is one of those days. Lyndsey is here on the podcast. We're talking about her book, Overthink, Simple Guide to Calm Your Thoughts. It's right here, and I can see it on my screen, and I can see that people love it. And you're going to love it. You're going to love the conversation. Lyndsey, welcome to Living the Next Chapter.
Thank you. And thank you for such a nice introduction.
Right? Well, hey, you did all the work. I'm just here to show people how great you are. And it's going to be really easy. Tell everybody where you are, Lyndsey, in this big world of ours.
I am in Philadelphia, United States, for those international listeners.
Philly representing in the house. I love it. It's good. Okay.
South Philadelphia. So like when Rocky was running down the street and there are the people with all the fruit.
Yes.
I'm right down the street from that. I buy fruit from those carts.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Sometimes you get fruit flies and it's annoying. So you have to come home and take all of the fruit. And I like wave it in the air before bringing it inside.
Okay, there you go. I love that. Have you ever got into a boxing match with someone, being from Philly?
So I've been boxing for 10 years. I just started doing Thai.
Wait a minute. That was just a throw. You seriously do?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, let's go. Keep going. That was great.
Well, yeah. So Overthink is about how to manage your thoughts. And that is a primary method, but there are secondary methods to help you to overcome trauma and depression and anxiety and c-PTSD, and to help you manage your thoughts, to calm your thoughts. And those secondary methods are yoga, meditation, working out, boxing. So for me, I started boxing. Typically, women go through a phase in their life around their 30s where they feel a lot of anger, and they think it's because women have been repressing anger for the majority of their life. I was an early bloomer. Around 26, 28, I started feeling very angry, and I was walking past a boxing gym and I thought, I think I would like this. And yeah, it feels really good to punch a boxing bag and just to concentrate your aggression into something where you're working out, and then you lose weight, you feel healthy, you can eat more pizza, and your arms look great.
You had me at pizza. I love that. Okay, good. I love that.
1 hour of boxing is about 800 calories. 10 minutes of jump rope is 200 calories, which is more calorie burn for any cardio workout than anything else.
There you go, everyone. You want more pizza? Go hit something. That's great. I'm glad you said punching bag, because when you were like, I just love hitting people, I'm like, oh no, that's not going to go well. But punching bag. Okay, good.
No, I've never hit a person. I actually, it's funny when I do sparring, like my coach will be sweaty. I'm like, dude, you're like sweaty. Like, I don't
want to touch that.
Like, yeah. I'll kick him. I'm like, oh, it's your sweat. And he's like, what if you get attacked and you have to defend yourself? I'm like, I will try to not touch the individual as much as possible, because I just assume anyone who's picking fights does not have good hygiene.
Right. I'm going to give them paper cuts with my new book, Overthink. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, don't push and run away.
There you go. I love it. Okay, so that's a great, well, there you go. See, we're already into the solution, but let's go back to the problem, the reason why you wrote the book. Why do people overthink? What is the starting point for your book, Lyndsey? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so when I thought going to therapy for a while because I thought it was going to be a whole bunch of like, how do you feel? And kind of like I played into the stigma of what we're taught and how therapy is shown on TV. But then when I actually went to therapy, I realized that it was a large focus on thoughts. And I started to wonder if I looked into my thoughts and how to manage my thoughts, would I be able to feel better? Because at that time I was feeling very stressed out, incredibly exhausted. And I found out I had c-PTSD, high functioning depression, and generalized anxiety disorder. It was like a laundry list. And it was a shock to hear those things because I was in denial for so long. But focusing on my thoughts felt so good. And the more I learned about my thoughts, it kind of gave me something to do and made me feel control. So I learned a lot about my thought processes. And something that I was constantly told was that I overthink, or that I'm overthinking something, or that I'm thinking about it too much. But I knew about thought processes, and I knew that saying that I'm overthinking was not going to help. And that there actually was no such thing as overthinking, because if you say that you're overthinking something, then you are suggesting that there is an appropriate amount of thinking. Like on an over-under scale, there's that appropriate amount. But thinking isn't on a spectrum of too much or not enough. Thinking is either you're thinking productively, you're thinking in accordance with your goals, you're thinking in a way that you are using your thoughts as a resource, or you're thinking unproductively, you're getting stuck in rumination and your thoughts are controlling you, you're not controlling them. And that is that's the thesis, I guess, or the foundation of overthink, is that you're not overthinking. There is no grand scale of thought. There's no person with a gong that dings it every time you think too much.
Wow.
It's just, you're just not thinking productively. And productive thinking isn't that you need to be thinking or doing something. Productive thinking is that you're just thinking in accordance with your goals. If you want to go to sleep, productive thinking would be turning your mind off.
Yeah. Okay. I like this. When did the book come out?
April 23rd.
Wow. Okay. So how's it been so far?
It's been interesting. So the book came out April 23rd. I did a TED Talk on May 11th, a TEDx talk on May 11th. Yeah. So it was like the book came out, and then the second book, Middle Think, is coming out July 23rd. And then the TEDx talk. So I just have so much going on that the book came out. I had like a nice, quaint little party at a typewriter shop. I have a 1959 traveling Hermes typewriter.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had my book party. I'm friends with the guys who like own the shop, Bill and Brian. So I just got like some wine, some pastries, and we had a table set up, and it was kind of like a kitchen table. People just came in, kind of sat around. We talked about thoughts and like the writing process. And that was fun. But then after that, it's like, all right, back to the grind, writing the second book, getting ready for the TED Talk.
Wow.
So it's been good. It's been fun. It's just, I'm pushing myself as hard as I can right now to kind of just get everything out and get my writing career started.
I love that you had that at a typewriter place. That I have a typewriter on my website. I love that.
I saw that. Yeah.
What a cool place to host that. That's a great idea.
Yeah. My typewriter, it's 7 pounds, and it's about 11. It's not a square, but if it was, it'd be like 11 inches. So it's maybe like 11 by 8. And I take it to a coffee shop near my house. I type on it, and people sometimes will buy me coffee. The owner of the shop came over and said that they love when I'm there because it's just such a nice sound.
Okay, for those listening at home and have no idea what a typewriter is, imagine a big machine that's heavy that you have to lug around and you have to push buttons, kind of like your keyboard, but then things actually move when you push a button. It's kind of cool, everyone. So if you're listening and you're like, I don't even know what a typewriter is.
Here, I can actually...
there, yeah, you got it right there. Okay, so there you go.
His name's Slappy.
Excuse me? Excuse me? Slappy?
Slappy, and I say that
Okay.
I'm slapping keys. So I don't know like where I can hold it. So
Oh, there you go. Slappy is in the house.
that's the noise and the smell. I'm trying to get the ding. Let's see. There's a
Ding.
nice little ding, and that ding keeps you going. The ding signifies that you have about like 10 more letters left until you're at the margin of the page.
Right.
And you just push the page back over.
Yeah.
And the smell is also something that is just so lovely. It's like a
Right.
oil.
And when you hit two keys at the same time, they get caught up on each other and stuck, and you have to pull them apart. And
Yes, and then
oh,
go back.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, for those that have no idea what a typewriter is, you could probably Google it. But that's so old school, and I love it. I love that you use that. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
I read one book on it, but I didn't write this one on it because it's hard because then you have to like scan everything in. It's hard to, but now I just use it for fun. Like I'll just go and I'll just type. It's a good stress reliever. Like when I'm tired of looking at a screen.
Yeah. Smart. I love it. Okay, so the book is out in the world. Tell us a little bit more. As I look at the book on Amazon, I see 3 statements, which I'd love for you to elaborate on. You have build self-awareness, stop repetitive thoughts, and create a positive mindset.
Yeah.
Can we go through each of these 3?
Yeah.
Because I'd love to kind of expand on it. So the first one, build self-awareness. Why is that part of your book and your thoughts?
Because when you focus on your thoughts, then you can come back to yourself. Your thoughts are not yourself. Your thoughts, you observe your thoughts, and your thoughts are a reflection of how you interpret your environment. And sometimes people will just listen to their thoughts and they just go with their thoughts and their beliefs without questioning them. And they just believe that their thoughts are true. So when you build self-awareness, you build the ability to question your thoughts and question if your thoughts are true or not. And then you also build the ability to identify your unhelpful thought habits that are keeping you stuck. In law of attraction, I'm pretty sure they call them blockers. So things that are blocking you, for instance, say that you grew up in an environment where money was a sense of, there was stress around money and your parents were constantly trying to get money. Then when you're older, you can have a blocker, quote unquote, blocker around money, meaning that you have a negative perception or thought habit towards money. You think that money is the root of all evil, or money is bad, or money generates stress. And that can stop you from opportunities to make money and have a happier, healthier life. So when you're self-aware, you're able to realize like, oh, like when I was younger, this happened. And then that's why I think that. So then now I'm acting this way. And that's why I'm not getting the results that I want. But the results that I want are what's true to me. And then because I'm not getting them, then I'm feeling depressed and stressed.
Right.
So you're kind of like reverse engineering. You're like, okay, I'm a depressed, exhausted, stressed out mess. And then you reverse engineer, you build that self-awareness, and then you figure out what's holding you back, and then you can fix it.
I love it. Okay, but self-awareness is not being self-absorbed, because people who are self-absorbed tend to usually hang out on social media and take pictures of their food all day. So that's not what we're talking about. We're not being absorbed with ourselves. We're being aware of ourselves.
No, I don't even know. Like, so I would have self-absorbed. Like, I'm not even sure what that would really be. I think that like, to me, it has like a negative connotation associated with it. Self-absorbed, I think, would be if you're like ignoring other people at all cost. But
me first.
Yeah, but no, self-reflection is not self-absorption. And just with selfishness, things are on a spectrum. You need to be selfish to a certain extent in order to live and survive. There's something being like incredibly negatively selfish. So if there's like 2 pieces of bread left and you take them both for yourself when there's someone else that's starving. But then there's also being selfish when your friend asks you to help them move, but you're exhausted and you mentally and physically cannot do it. If you say no to that, you're being selfish, but that's because you need to in that moment to have that healthy boundary. So then you can be a better person in the world and also to yourself.
Yeah.
These are very complex topics. And I think the reason why people are depressed and why we're fighting with each other is because we simplify these concepts and then just use them baselessly sometimes.
Yeah. It goes back to the oxygen mask in the plane.
Yeah.
Right. Put it on first. It's all about you have to take care of yourself first so you can help others. Don't ignore yourself. So now that we have to come help you. Take care of yourself.
What is the idea of like someone like, okay, like your friend tells you, you need to do this favor for me. If you're not doing it, it's selfish. But isn't it selfish of them to tell you that if you're not doing it, is making you selfish? So then they're being selfish, but it's okay for them to be selfish, but you're not allowed to be selfish. It's like, guys, why don't we just all have strong boundaries, be self-aware, take care of ourselves?
That person needs this new book I've heard about called Overthink. They really need that new book. I think that would help them. See what we did there? Product placement. I love that.
Thank
Good.
you.
Okay, so that's build self-awareness. The next one is stop repetitive thoughts.
Yes.
What do you mean by this? Come on, expand. Let's go.
So before I wrote the book, I looked up the common reasons why people quote unquote overthink. And it said like perfectionist, control. And I was writing sections on each of those, but I thought, you know what, let me actually ask overthinkers. So I went on different subreddits and different Facebook groups. And I said, I'm writing a book about overthinking. If you have repetitive thought, would you please tell me what you think repetitively about? And I got over 311 responses.
Good.
And I aggregated the data because I used to work in tech and aggregate data. And I found the 3 common thought habits that led to the repetitive thoughts. So control, perfectionism, all that stuff was found within those responses, but there were 3 overarching things. And it was a fixed mindset, a lack of self-confidence, which is not a thought habit, but your thoughts contribute to your self-confidence, and then cognitive distortions. And I go into each of these 3 root causes, I call them, and teach a cognitive reframing technique. So then you can identify why you're thinking about something repetitively. You can challenge it, and then you can evaluate how much more aligned you'll be with your goals if you stop the repetitive thought, which will trigger internal motivation, which is part of emotional intelligence. I used to teach emotional intelligence corporate settings. And then you will be able to stop that repetitive thought. It's a lot.
Right. When I think of repetitive thoughts, I think of a dog chasing its tail, circles and circles and circles and circles.
And because of something called ironic process theory, you think about things even if you don't want to think about them. Like if I tell you don't think of something blue, you're going to think of something blue. So if you want to stop repetitive thought, you're going to keep thinking about the thing that you don't want to think about, even though you don't want to think about it, because you're thinking about it, even though you don't want to think about it. And then you're thinking about the thing that you don't want to think about, and you're thinking about how you don't want to think about it. And that's why we shouldn't be saying that we're overthinking, because when you're overthinking, you're just focused on the thing that you don't want to think about, and then you just keep thinking about it. So
I can't wait to see the transcript for what you just said, because it's all going to be put into words, and I'm going to overthink about the overthink about the overthink. That's good. That's good.
And that's why I tell people, like, don't say you're overthinking, because when you're telling your brain to think more, what you need to do is say that you're going to think productively, and then your brain is like a search engine, and you will find ways to restructure your mind so that you can stop the repetitive thought. It's incredible. I mean, I think you can tell by the way I talk about it that I have extensive experience in this area. And I used to get stuck in so much repetitive thought. My whole entire life was passing me by. Now there are times when I'm walking down the street and in my mind it's literally do. And I'm like, oh, look, a bird.
Yeah.
That flower is pretty. Let me smell it.
Wow. What a difference.
Yeah, a crazy difference. Even if like I have something just happened that I'm really upset over, or I'm like, this is not productive for me to be thinking about this right now. So I'm going to clear my mind, and I can clear my mind in record time. The more you do it, the more it works.
I love it. So we have build self-awareness, stop repetitive thoughts, and rounding it out, create a positive mindset. Sounds easy to do, but I don't think it's easy to do. What do we do?
Yeah. And then there's a toxic positivity that we need to watch out for. So create a positive mindset. It would be almost like create a balanced mindset. Okay. I wrote positive because that's like a a marketing speak term that people like, but really it's about creating balance. When you create balance, you focus on your thoughts as your advocates. Your thoughts are meant to be your cheerleaders. Like when I was doing my TED talk, like it was the first time I did a talk on a stage and public speaking. And it was much easier to do because I had a cheerleader in my mind that was saying, shine, shine, shine. Then it would have been if I had one in my mind saying, you're going to mess up. You're going to say, they're going to hate you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm teaching people is to have that confidence and to help them make their thoughts their greatest advocates so they can have a balanced mindset, which is typically associated as a positive mindset. And then I stay away from the toxic positivity. People tell people to like let things go. I think that that is toxic just because if someone could let it go, they would. They don't know how to let it go. So I try not to use those like platitudes or simple phrases because I want to meet people where they're at. And actually, a woman left a review on the book and I cried because she said something about the book is that she loves it and meets you wherever you're at. And I'm like, I tried so hard to put that message in this book. And I'm so happy that someone saw that. And that's what I'm trying to do.
So that reviewer might be listening to this episode. What do you want to say to them?
Thank you. I wrote to them. I said, thank you.
Okay. Nice.
I cried off and on all day, whatever day you left it. I read it like 50 times.
Wow.
Yeah. And she said she just got a promotion at work and it's helping her with her like rooming thoughts at work. And I'm like, yeah, girl, go get it. Get another promotion. Make money.
There you go. Buy more of my books. Yes. There is, I see on the Amazon page, there's a workbook included. So what's the workbook?
So I see books now, they'll be like $11, $12, and then they'll be like, oh, an additional workbook, and the workbook is $17. What I did was I included writing prompts within the book.
Okay.
And I put in the beginning of the book, like, you don't have to do the writing prompts, but at least thoughtfully consider them. Scientific studies have shown us that writing things down can help us remember them. I think it also helps you separate yourself from your thoughts. That's why people journal, because you're putting the thoughts down and you're not acknowledging that you are them. You're separating your identity from them, which a lot of people identify as their thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You're the awareness of them. So I include writing prompts in there, but I tell people like no pressure. You don't have to do them. At least thoughtfully consider them. And then there are templates in the back that people can use. So I say that's like the workbook is included.
Okay. I love that. That's great. I'm glad that you called that out too, because I think, I see that all the time, the book and then the supplemental workbook, and you have to buy that.
And the supplemental workbook is like more money usually than like, I feel like they like get you and then they like charge you more. That's why I'm like $15. Here you go. This is what it is. Like you're getting what you pay for. I wrote it it was 100,000 words. My editor helped me get it down to 25,000. And someone said, they're like, I love how concise it is. But then someone else told me that they have to take breaks because it's so much like packed in. So this second book I'm writing, in the beginning, it says how to use the book. I'm like, you might need to take breaks in between sections because there's just so much layers.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't want to give away the book because we want everybody to buy the book and leave a great review. But the one thing that caught my eye in the listing for your book, you say something around the simple 3-step technique to reclaim your mind.
Yes. Yeah. So
what's this about?
Yeah. So that's the one I talked about, that identifying, challenging, and then, so it's the ICE method. So in cognitive behavioral therapy, you call, identify, challenge, evaluate. So ICE. And in cognitive behavioral therapy, they call thoughts that have you seen the world in a negative lens, or thoughts that get you in that like ruminative pattern. I call them unproductive thoughts. They are called hot thoughts. So if you have a hot thought, they get you like running hot. Like if you did something out of anger and you're like, my anger got the best of me. No, it was a hot thought triggered you and then led to a strong emotional response. And then you reacted instead of responded. It wasn't your emotions getting the best of you. That is what happened. Or I guess it is your emotions getting the best of you, but that's what happens when, whatever, semantics. So the ICE method is going to help you to calm those quote unquote hot thoughts. And
we can almost melt them with the ice method, right?
Yeah, you're
ice
cooling
hot.
them down.
Ice hot,
But
right?
you don't want to go too far to the other side.
Okay.
Like sometimes people will do that. That's that toxic positivity. Like someone will be feeling like crap and they're like, I hate myself. Like this, I can't stand myself. And then someone's like, you have to love yourself. But if someone hates themselves, they're not going to meet one extreme to the other. They have to meet in the middle. So icing your thoughts is being like, well, maybe you're not that bad. Maybe there are people that like you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know what? The other day, so-and-so said that they really liked when I did XYZ. All right. Maybe I'm not that bad. I'm not perfect. I'm not super in love with myself, but like, I'm not that bad. And that's what you want to do. You want to cool it down. And then the more you cool it down, then you'll be able to get to that self-love, but it won't be as intense as that toxic positivity self-love that people try and sell us.
I love it. Wow. Okay. So this book's out. You're talking about a second book then coming as well?
Yeah, I know. And that's
where are we at with that?
Like, I don't want to cheat on this one with that.
No, I know, but we can talk a little bit about what's coming. Come on.
Yeah, so the second one is called Think. It's a series of book called Thought Books. My company is the Thought Method Company. It's a thought-based approach to personal development and mental wellness. I used to teach emotional intelligence. People had trouble focusing on emotional intelligence and managing their emotions. And I realized it's because they weren't managing your thoughts. Your thoughts are at the beginning of a chain event. Your thoughts lead to your emotions. So you get stimuli in your environment through your senses. Like you touch something, oh, that's hot. You see someone that's cute, you're like, oh, they're cute. Like that's how you gain your thoughts. And then that leads to your emotions. And then that leads to your response or your reaction. So I'm teaching people about their thoughts so then they will be able to manage their emotions better. So I'm going higher in the chain of events. Emotional intelligence is considered one of the highest contributors to success, one of the highest skills for success. Yes. Companies will give, what am I thinking of, tests for people before they hire them to see how emotionally intelligent they are. Yes, and leaders are considered to have a higher emotional intelligence. People who have higher emotional intelligence on average make $29,000 more than people who have less emotional intelligence. It makes you a better person, partner, everything, parent. And I'm going to thoughts first, though. I'm like, let's focus on the thoughts because people are having trouble with managing their emotions because it comes with thoughts. So my company is the Thought Method Company. It's a thought-based approach to personal development, mental wellness. Overthink was like the first like capstone grounding one. That's where I talk about like unconscious and conscious awareness, where your thought habits come from. So if you really want to know about like your brain and how you're processing and why you even have thoughts, that's Overthink. And then the second one is Think, which is about all or nothing thinking, which is a thought distortion that is referenced in Overthink, but I'm having a specific book dedicated to it because right now, like if you look it up online, what's all or nothing thinking, it says all or nothing thinking is black and white thinking. And an example is seeing things as all good or all bad, but that doesn't do it justice because seeing things all good and all bad, and then saying that seeing Stacy got a promotion at work and feeling like you're never going to get ahead, they don't sound the same, but that is all or nothing thinking because you're seeing someone else get a promotion and then you're thinking that you're never going to be where they're at. That's all or nothing. So I explain it in a more simplified way with real life examples. Like my main character, Kai, he just got done running some errands. He's sitting down eating some berries that he got at the farmer's market in the morning.
No fruit flies. No fruit flies. Right? Yeah. Okay, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. If you put vinegar in a little dish with water, they fly in there. And then
anyway, we're getting off track, but yes, keep going. Guy's eating his strawberries. Let's go.
Then I get so I talk about like how he like turns on the newsfeed. There's politicians fighting. There's this. There's that. There's people saying like you're never going to buy a house. No one wants to date anymore. All of these are examples of all or nothing and extreme thinking in our environment. And then think. I say if Kai lived in the middle, this is what his newsfeed would look like. His friend wouldn't say that the person Kai just started dating didn't message him back last night because everyone cheats and that person must be cheating. His friend would say, they're just not responding in the time, like period that you would like them to respond. Are you still interested in talking to someone who doesn't have the same communication
Yeah,
style as you?
exactly.
Yeah, so I'm just teaching these different, like showing people like what we're doing here. Like this is our normal, all of these like extremes, but it's not healthy for your mental health. And then
Yeah.
like I'm going to do one on emotional reasoning, should thinking. There's 22 different cognitive distortions I can do it on. I'm doing one called leader think, how to be a leader. My formal degree is in organizational leadership, so I know like change management. I'm actually utilizing a lot that I learned in that degree to instigate a deep rooted cultural change in the way that we view mental health. And my goal, my long term goal, is that when I'm in like my 80s, I'll see a disruptor scale of when thought books came out and then how it positively contributed to
Mm,
mental health.
I love this.
So
You
gotta
have
have goals.
you have a
Yeah.
plan. You have a
Yeah.
plan. Yes, I love it.
And like
Good.
sometimes I'm like, that's a lot though. That's a big goal. I'm like, someone's got to do it. Why wouldn't it be me?
It's not going to happen if you don't do it. So there you go. You're on the
Yeah.
right path. It's
Yeah.
exciting. What does it feel like to have the book show up on your doorstep for the first time and you hold your first copy?
Uh,
There's authors listening. They're at the very beginning of writing. They don't know what it's like to be where you are. What does it feel like? You got the book. Like this is you. Your pieces out in the world.
yeah. So for me, because I'm being so hard on this, because I really need this to have mass market appeal. When I first got the book, like I was excited, but I did not allow myself to be excited for a while because I was just scrutinizing it so much. It's like 2 days. It was exciting, but then I'm like, oh, I want to change this. I want to do this. I want to change this. And people were like, no, you just need to be excited. But I'm happy that I allowed myself to kind of look at it and process it. And then it was 2 days later, I remember I came down in the morning and he was sitting there and I looked at it and I thought, oh my God. And I like picked it up and hugged it and I like carried it around with me for like an entire week.
There you go. See?
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
just
I
want to
want.
share
Yeah.
that because a lot of authors, like I'll see videos of them unboxing and they're super excited. And me, I'm like, I don't know if the color's right. And like, this looks off because I just, as a new author, you want it to look good. This is a representation of a decade of research and like all this hard
Right.
work. And yeah, like you might open it up and not love it and think it's amazing, but give yourself a couple days and let it settle. And then you might look like a weirdo hugging a book while you're walking around.
Yeah. I think.
I was
Yeah.
walking down the street hugging it. I'm like, I didn't give it a whiff yet. I like flipped through it and went, and you got to give like a nice little whiff to your own book.
There you go. We have real smell-o-vision now. I love that. That's good. I love it. That's good. Okay, so any tips for a new author? We have people listening who are on their journey. They'd love to learn from you. Anything that could help them? What do you think?
Yes, I think just for like, there's so many things I could say, but I think the number one thing is a perspective. And it's something that you and I were talking about when we did like the pre-conversation when we first met, just to tell yourself, like, I'm new to this. There are going to be so many different perspectives. I'm in authors groups. They're wonderful. And I love getting the support and getting feedback. And I've had so many people support me and meeting so many amazing authors. But then they're also a place where people go and vent. And they're not asking, do you have space to hear me vent? They're just venting. And you can see something and someone say these all or nothing thoughts like, no one buys books anymore. No one likes indie authors. No one this. And you're reading it. And it's like, oh my God. And
Hmm.
it can be scary and frustrating. And people can say, like, this is so hard. And just tell yourself, like, I'm new to this. Like, it's going to be hard because it's something new. When you were a baby and you were learning to walk, that was hard.
Right.
New things are difficult, but just because they're difficult doesn't mean that you can't do them. You can and you will. Just acknowledge, I'm new to this. I'm going to make some mistakes. You pay for confidence. Like, I made mistakes. I spent money I wish I didn't. And now I know better. And then writing the second book, it's just so much easier.
Yeah. There you go. You can't write the second book without writing the first book, though.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
And try and have like a regimented schedule, but know that you can go out of the schedule. I lost, oh, it was some really dark days. I did 8 hours of edits 3 days in a row and I lost it all. yeah, now I will no longer work in Microsoft Word. I'm solely in Google Docs. And it was really distressing for me. I walked to the computer place like so fast, my calf muscles hurt. It's like I was walking so fast, trying to see if he could save it, and he couldn't. And Microsoft wouldn't do anything, or they said they couldn't do anything. It was a corrupted file. And I just remember being so upset. And I had this schedule, this regimented writing schedule that I needed to be on, but I couldn't do it. I had to give myself a break. And I didn't think that I was going to go back to it because I was nervous to go back. Almost like if you're cheated on in a relationship, you're supposed to try and love again. Like I was like scared to write again because I'm like, what if everything gets deleted? But I gave myself time. I watched some horribly good 80s movies and cuddled with my cat and got burger and fries and milkshakes and
You punched a couple things, yeah? Yeah, okay.
after like 3 days of not showering with greasy, disgusting hair, and I started to smell myself, I'm like, I think
Okay.
I'm ready.
I'm ready to move on.
Yeah. And then I look back on that now and I'm like, you know what? There are some pretty great days. I needed that. So if you have a will or if you have a want to write, then just combine that with a will and think about how good it will feel in the end. And you just have to keep going. And then you're going to hear all these diverse perspectives, and people are going to tell you that it's hard, and people are going to say you can't do it. But if you have your mindset on it, you can do it. Millions of people have. That doesn't make them better or worse than you. We're all similar, and we all have something to say. Just know I'm new to this, and you can get it done.
I love it. So the book, everybody, is Overthink, Simple Guide to Calm Your Thoughts. And Lyndsey, where do we go to connect with you? Where's your website? Where are you online? Your Instagram is up. It's doing well.
I know.
Where do we follow you? What do we do?
It's Thought Method. So my Instagram is at Thought Method, and then my website is thoughtmethod.com.
Okay. And everything's there. We can grab the book everywhere online. You can go there. Make sure, everyone, you leave an amazing review because you heard Lyndsey say how much she loves reviews. Let's make Lyndsey cry, everybody. Do something nice. Leave a good message for her. We're on a mission to make you cry, Lyndsey. Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much for doing this, Lyndsey. As we go, one last thing. How do you feel we can be better, and how can we calm our thoughts even more beyond the book? What's one other thing that you're really thinking about right now that you're putting into practice for yourself that helps you stay calm and stop overthinking? What are you doing?
Yeah, so know that same thing. I'm new to this. So what happens is people will, and I'm literally telling that to myself now because I think I told you, we talked about this remission to me. I thought was going to be me trying not to be depressed anymore, go into depressive states. But remission for me is accepting overwhelming amounts of happiness and joy from not being bogged down by depression going towards my goals. And I just constantly remind myself, like, I'm new to this because I'm having a lot of thoughts. Like, what, you're just happy all the time and that's it? And then, so if you're trying to calm your thoughts, just remind yourself, I'm new to this because it's very difficult to do, but you can do it. It's just something, it's like a muscle that you need to build up. And if you get frustrated with yourself, just remind yourself, I'm new to this. And then also remind yourself that you don't have to think about anything. And if you are thinking and you don't want to, you can put music on and just listen to the music and focus on the notes of the music. Or you can call a friend and ask them how they're thinking or like how they're feeling and just listen to them to shut your mind off. And just continually remind yourself, I'm new to this. And deep breathing is also good too. If you're thinking a lot, you can just sit and focus on your breath. That's a nice thing, just to like focus on in and out, contraction, expansion. And just keep going. Whatever technique you find that works for you, go towards it. I tell people, like, just do it. Focus on your thoughts. It changed my entire life. I would not be where I am today if I didn't manage my thoughts. They're your greatest resource. They're more important than time and money because they dictate how you spend your time and your money.
Yeah. And what I love, Lyndsey, having you here on the podcast, you're illustrating it right now. This whole thing about doing new things and you're new at this. first time guest on a podcast, and you sound like you've been doing this forever. So,
do you
well
really
done.
think so?
Well done. Yes. No, you're really good at this. So everyone listening, if you have a podcast, you need Lyndsey on your show because she's amazing.
I said like 3 times. I'm trying not to say and I heard myself say 3 times. But besides that,
you did amazing. Everyone, go check out the book, buy the book, leave a great review, share the book, buy a book for someone else and send it to them.
Aww.
Buy lots of books, and let's help Lyndsey sell
It's
a million
only
books.
$15, guys.
Come on, people. Right?
Anything else?
Build your self-awareness, stop repetitive thoughts, create a positive mindset.
Yes.
Lyndsey, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being part of Living the Next Chapter. Hey, look at we're having such a great time talking to authors around the world. If you are an author and you would like to be on this very show, I would love to talk to you. livingthenextchapter.com, livingthenextchapter.com, livingthenextchapter.com is the best way to get in touch with us. There you'll find our social media and blah, 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 la-di-da, and such. You, author, soon-to-be author, new author, currently writing your book author, published author, we need you here. The seat's empty, microphone set up, we're waiting for you. livingthenextchapter.com. We would love to have you on the podcast. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Yeah, you should be here. We'll see you at livingthenextchapter.com.